computer as well. That way we've got it. That way we've got it for being able to play back because we've been having a bit of a time of it trying to find where the story went on the news and all of that sort of stuff for last night for the news. So, okay, good news. So we're live. Deb, we pulled this off. By the way, this is Deb Rahmer and this is Kathy Kaufman or Deb Rio Rahmer. I like the
Yes.
way you're Rio. It sounds very exotic, Deb.
Mhm.
Good to see you. You two talk all the time, so this is nothing new for this is probably the first time you've gone Facebook Live together, I imagine.
Mhm.
Well, usually when Kathy's cooking, she'll FaceTime me and I
Oh.
look at her food.
The food is next level. Deb, I need to walk home to Iowa after this because I don't know how Keith does it.
Hey, before we get this going, I want her to tell you a story about her cooking.
Okay.
And the first time we came to your house for dinner, we
Oh,
were going to Grandview. So you tell me.
yes.
Okay.
Well, I always talk to Kathy and Keith always made me nervous. I don't know why. Never raised his voice, nothing, but I was so proud that they stopped at the house and I said, "Oh, I'm going to make spaghetti and gravy." And everybody was there and I never turned the heat on for the sauce and it was like so embarrassing because I was that nervous.
It was so nice.
But
She had cantaloupe with what was that called? Prosciutto. Yeah.
prosciutto on top and I had this whole meal planned because we only live 15 minutes from Grandview and I never turned the pot on for the gravy.
And we only had so much time and we're just sitting there. And then she looks around and sees the stove's not on.
Why were you nervous?
I don't know. I don't know. But I always loved it when we used to go to the races because Keith would always eat before he went into the races and my husband couldn't. So Keith would come in and I'd make him this big Italian sandwich and he would eat it and my husband would have to eat it afterwards because he used to get sick to his stomach if he ate. So I don't know why I was nervous.
So there's two things. There's two things that Fred Raymer and Keith Kaufman have in common. A, they're Pennsylvanian sprint car badasses, and B, they both have wives who are phenomenal cooks. So I don't know. There's something about Pennsylvania, and I was talking to, I think it was Stremmy. I think David Stremmy said to me last night. He said the reason why Pennsylvania women can cook so good is because there's not much food out there, variety in Mifflintown, so the wives all know how to cook because everyone stays at home.
We like to eat.
Yeah.
Yes, we like food.
When did you and Kathy become friends, Deb? By the way, this is Freddie Raymer's beautiful wife, Deb, by the way, and this is Keith Kaufman's beautiful wife, Kathy. If you're just joining us and you're wondering what on earth is going on here, we went, let's just go Facebook Live. It's a beautiful morning in Mifflintown. It's 10:40 a.m. It is 12:40 a.m. tomorrow morning already in Sydney, Australia. So we are 14 hours in Pennsylvania behind Australia. But when did you two meet?
I'd say when we started racing out in central Pennsylvania, 86, 87.
Okay.
And
Are you PA born and bred, Deb?
I am, yes.
Okay. And so
Well,
Rio is your maiden name, is that right?
yes, my father was into racing, owned a race car since 1951.
Wow.
And we were modified people.
Okay.
And then Fritz went sprint car racing in 86 officially. And when I went out to central Pennsylvania, I was shocked. But it was a culture change. But I've met my friends, and
Yeah.
Captain's my friend for life.
Yeah.
And our husbands competed, but that never factored into our friendship.
Sean Keane is watching at the moment. Sean, apart from being a racer himself and team owner, gave Skip Jackson a wonderful opportunity for Skip to race over here, and I'm hoping to catch Sean tomorrow. I hope at Port Royal because he's going to be there. So Skip was very excited about us being able to catch up and do that. So g'day, Sean. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And also Meridel Folkets is tuned in. Meridel is from the Knoxville Raceway. She operates the elevators. She's a very important lady. She makes sure everyone gets up and down. Larry Ball Jr. is tuned in as well. Gavin Prendergast, who's from Perth in Western Australia. So we're worldwide here, Deb, at the moment.
Skip
Wow.
Jackson, I have wonderful memories of him.
Yeah. He's such a great human being, Deb. Everybody loves Skippy. And I mean, like everybody, he's just a tremendous person. So how do you two get through what you do? These days, you have to watch your boy get after it, who's a gasser like his old man. Kathy doesn't have to worry about that. Her children are doing other things in life. But what's the difference between being a racer wife and a racer mum, Deb?
And she has two sons at race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have two sons at race. It's totally different. Um, I don't quite understand why, but it's just totally different. But my relationship with Kathy is about racing. I'd say maybe 20%, but 80% it's about family and what we've been through. And I think that's what's most important is that all of our experiences are kind of the same. And I think that that's what built the relationship. And Kathy's friends are my friends, and my friends are Kathy's friends. And my kids just love Keith and Kathy.
It's we just did the Man from Mifflintown sign unveil. It's been quite surreal, Kathy, hasn't it? I don't think that Keith fully understood how much his life has impacted this community, and how much they're proud of him because we had a really good turnout.
We did, and Keith was really proud of the moment, and I really feel it was a start for the other people in the Hall of Fame, like Fred Raymer, to maybe have their community
Hmm.
come forward and do the same thing. Um, but Keith was very humbled, but still very honored, and I think all these guys deserve so much more than people realize. If you hear the real stories, it's just so much fun to go back in time and realize how fortunate we were to be able to be together and be families and everything we did.
Absolutely. And they're just a little bit different, I think. The older guys, our husbands, I don't like to consider myself in the old category, but I feel that the Keiths, the Freds, the Steve Smith,
Yeah,
Todd. I mean, my husband is friends with the Kadings and Rodney Duncan and was
yeah.
Kevin Holly. And I, in my heart, I don't feel that it's the same caliber as it is now. Me being old, but I just feel that these guys will never ever talk about themselves, and mostly they're very quiet about. They're embarrassed when they're
Yeah.
being highlighted.
Right, because they all they had time for was to work. Like all the years we raced, people would say, "I'll come to my party, do this, do that." Well, we couldn't because if we didn't go to the track and the guys perform as well as they did, and Keith and Freddie had huge fans and anyway, if they didn't do well, who would care if we came to their party? You have to perform before, I mean, I would rather see results than hear results. I'd rather see the results. And that's what those
Exactly.
guys did. They worked hard and
So, and to that point about results, your beautiful granddaughter just stuck her head through the door just then.
did
We
you?
need to get we need to get the red book.
Oh, okay. All right.
You just call her out. She was right there. So if we can,
Malia,
Malia, can you get the red book? So
I
you would
see.
have seen that, Deb, and you wouldn't have been surprised at all, would you?
No.
did you see any of it on
Oh yes, I
Larry?
watched everything. Everything that Wade posts, I watch.
He does
It
great
had
interviews.
it's had 13,000 views so far, and Kathy's like,
Why would
it
anybody care?
it's because you tell me, Deb, why do you
They're
think?
shocked. They're shocked at the things she wrote. They're like, "What in the world?"
I didn't even know what I was talking about.
But
Do you
but I
like have
think
it in your pocket and you pulled it out and wrote it?
I must have. I must have taken it with me and I had stickers. I mean, it's just
like
strange.
turtles when he was slow and little things with umbrellas.
And yip hip hip hooray when we
Yeah,
did a
when
double
you won
whammy.
both. But I think, Deb, to your point about people wanting to celebrate a different time, I think when people see that they spent $3 at Wendy's, a pit pass was $3. I think it reminds them of life in a simpler time, Deb. And I think that life seemed a lot easier back then than it does now. And you've got beautiful kids, you've got beautiful grandkids. We're all sort of got I've got beautiful grandson now. And I think I grew up in a much easier time than my kids. There's not a lot more technology. We all get that. The accessibility thing is big, but I much prefer what we grow up in.
Well, and the neat thing is too, with little Freddie and Brandon racing, they experienced what we went through. So, it's really hard because it's different now, but I think they really enjoyed what we did, but it's not
Yeah.
like that anymore. I mean, it's a different world. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, for us, if we didn't have the motorhome, we wouldn't have been able to go. And
right.
we were all together. Like we
Mhm.
were contained, we were all together. And all the drivers and their kids were all friends.
Mhm.
And that was important. It was fun to go, it was fun to race, and it was fun afterwards. And
We looked forward to the weekends and getting to see each other. Yeah.
Deb, I talk to everybody over here and I say Pennsylvania is different. And I truly, and I don't, people from PA probably like, oh God, he's talking about PA being a different planet again. But it really is. The level of passion is just through the roof. How has it been being Deb Rahmer? Because it can't have been always easy. Like Fred had his fans, but he certainly had people that didn't want to see him win. What was that like for you?
well, when I was at the races and they were booing my husband,
That's kind of what I was saying.
um, I would sit right next to the people, and
Oh, they didn't know.
by the end of the night, we were friends and it was fun and it wasn't foul. It
Mhm.
wasn't malicious. It was booing and fun, and people were there.
Mhm.
It did get bad. There were nights, I mean, there's a lot of stories about that, but it's different now, and it's social media allows people to say things, which there's positives, but I
Yeah.
think at some point the level that people need to be restricted. And I
Yeah.
feel that the people that have all these sites should be restricting the horrible, horrible comments.
Agreed. Agreed. The cool bit is Ike Wycott is calling me at the moment. I'm still having pinch me moments. My son
You can
Connor
put
is
Ike on. He was my buddy.
that's funny. He wouldn't know that we're doing this right now. My son Connor is
Oh,
watching from Mildura, and Ike Wycott is messaging me while I'm talking to Kathy Kaufman and Deb Rahmer. I'm still a fanboy, and I'm still sitting here in this beautiful morning going, wow, how did my life get to be this? Because we get to become friends with people that ultimately are our heroes. I mean, you're in the industry, but for me, I'm like this little kid still that goes, my God, I remember Freddie Raymer and Todd when they came out to race at Parramatta in 99, 2000. So for me, I've got 25 years worth of connection to Pennsylvania in some strange way.
And there
well,
back to like when Keith started, I mean, it took a lot of years to get to where he was, but once he won, it was usually about three races in a row, the crowd would start booing and beer bottles would fly
Mm,
when you were allowed to have bottles at the track. But
yeah.
I had experiences where I had a mother come up to my kids and say to her kids, don't play with them, they're Kaufman's kids, things like that. And I'd just start crying because I think I never knew people were so vicious. But
yeah.
you just have to be tough and not want to be like that and be kind to them and show them that, if you're kind, then everything will work out. But Debbie, you got to tell them the story about the Cheerios, the trap.
So during the Slick 50 series,
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember the Slick 50 series.
Kathy and I flew out, and it was bad weather back home. So we ended up staying out, I think like 5 days more or something like that. So Fritz and I and Keith and Kathy drove to the Hoover Dam, and then we went to Las Vegas, and we stayed in a hotel. Kathy, we were hungry, and Kathy pulled out Cheerios in a baggie.
Brought my snacks.
And I was like, where did that even come from? It was hilarious. So I
Yeah,
don't even know what year that was, but it was the time of our lives.
it was. It was fun.
That's when I met the Kadings
Uh-huh.
and had a eye opener. But Brent Kading and his kids are, I feel like, are my family. I watched Tim last night race, and I love the Kadings, and I got to meet them out there. And you reference about Todd going to
Yeah.
Australia. That was the year my husband loaded the container and sent everything over, and it was his idea to have Todd and Moon and Lee Stauffer go. And
Yeah.
I was like, it was a lot of money, and I let him do whatever. And Todd was saying that my husband was the worst car owner ever.
Wow. They
Because he
ran
would say, don't bend a wing, don't do this, don't do that.
they ran USA 1 and USA 2, and it was huge. At that Christmas, I think Americans probably struggle to understand that Christmas, New Year, Deb, is our biggest time. That's the time where everyone's on Christmas holidays. It's hot weather. Christmas Day is normally over 100 degrees. And so Boxing Day at Parramatta, which is gone now, that was when you look back on it now, Deb, and I'm sure Fred feels the same way, and Todd, that was a really special thing to have done when you look back later at a track that's not there anymore.
Yeah, and I have all those pictures of the cars on the opera steps.
Yep.
I mean, that
Yep.
to
The Opera
me,
House. Yep.
yeah, and trust me, I don't have very many racing pictures in my house, and I love that picture is that's incredible.
Well, when
And the experiences in Australia were phenomenal, and the friends we met over there. I mean, they went through the journey with me on having children, and for 30 years they still remember that, and we're still friends with everybody that I met over in Australia. So it wouldn't want to change that experience for anything.
when Keith went to race at Perth, I remember he went with, I think it was Schatz and
Yeah.
Dean Jacobs. And I didn't get to go along, but he arrived there and they had lost his luggage and they were doing a photo shoot on the beach. And they kept saying Keith was going to have to be naked because he didn't have any of his racing stuff with
Wow.
him. I thought that was a pretty good story. But yeah, we had a great time in Perth too. And it was a lot of fun.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Stacy Joe Steen Priest, I think, is saying here. Gillian Gravel's a very nice and sweet lady, and it's unreal how people act with her compared to the way that they boo David. And I've often wondered about how wives go in the t-shirt trailer, because a lot of times they'd be standing with someone who is buying a gravel shirt, and the other guy wouldn't be a gravel fan and probably running him down pretty hard. And they don't realize that that's his wife standing right there, or that's his mum. Like, hey, Donnie Schatz' mum's a great example, right?
Right.
So Donnie's mum is the boss when it
Right.
comes to t-shirt sales. So to your point, Deb, earlier about back in the day, I spoke to Donnie about this a couple of years back. If you had a problem with the 11 car, if you're a fan of Steve Kinser back in the day, you had to wait till he came to race in your town. You bought a pit pass. You went down there with all the intention of letting him have it. And then you saw how big he was and you went, I'll just do that later. And you went back in the stands and maybe you booed, but that was the extent of all you could do. Now you just pick this up and you can say anything you want, and that's disappointing.
Yeah, and to that point, Steve Kinzer, I mean, we were like, whoa, like
Yeah,
he was a hero, and
Right.
Mr. Smith and Bobby Allen. I mean,
yeah,
I spoke to Bobby the day before he passed. He called me. I was at my dad's house, and we were laughing and with with oh geez, my head's gonna forget now, but I was talking to him, and the when we met those people out in central Pennsylvania, Keith, the Kreitzes, I mean,
yeah,
we were in all of them. We
yeah.
would never boo anybody, and I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where the hatred comes from. People should be thankful that in a
Yeah.
matter of an hour, you can go to 4 different racetracks.
And we were so respectful of the people that raced before us too. I remember being so proud, and even crying when like Lynn Paxton and Barry Camp when they decided to not race anymore because I thought I'll never see my friends again.
Right,
It
exactly.
just doesn't make sense because those everybody helps everybody. I mean, it's like I mean they don't realize it how much a driver before them has helped them get to where they are, apparently.
Well, we couldn't go to a football game back in the day and say that Joe Montana seems like a nice guy. we'll just buy a t-shirt off him and maybe talk to his wife at the t-shirt trailer and we'll become friends and go to watch games with him. Whereas in our sport, Deb, you can be friends with your rivals. We're pretty unique like that, right? That the people you can race really hard against. And a great story happened the other day randomly with Bruce Ellis. So Kathy and I were talking as I was driving across from Knoxville, and she said, Bruce Ellis is the guy that came up with the term "the man from Mifflintown." I was like, "Wow,
Right.
that's interesting." Anyway, I texted Bruce saying, "Hey, I'm going to be in PA. I'd love to sit down with you and interview. Where do I still can't understand Pennsylvania geography. All I know is I'm in Mifflintown." And he said, "Well, I live 100 miles from there." I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Where are you going to be?" I said, "Well, why don't you come? Keith's getting a sign tonight. Did you know anything about that?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, your nickname you created is going to be on a street sign here that honors him in his own hometown. Why don't you come tonight?" He goes, "Okay." So 2 hours later, he walks in Keith and Kathy's door because a guy from Australia
Oh,
said, "Hey, by the way, there's something going on in Mifflintown." So that beautiful, intricate patchwork of people we have in our world is so important.
it's family.
Yeah.
Very important. Yeah, I know that Ernie Saxton gave Fritz his nickname of Fast Freddy,
Oh, did he?
and that stuck. And yeah, and I think Bruce is Hazleton. So yeah, and Bruce was an intricate part of
Yes.
the history,
With that
and
wheel
Yeah.
it was I have all his articles, and it was a nice interview. I watched that.
Did I just hear the word Fritz in a sentence then?
that's
I
call him.
That's what I call him.
We
He's
don't call
not Fred to me. He's Fritz.
we call him Fred.
His That's how I met him, and I
What?
can't call him Fred.
Why do you
Yeah.
call him Fred?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that.
What's so
His
crazy about
father was Fred and
oh,
was called Fritz, and my mother-in-law called him Fritzy, and the whole Rahmer family called him that, and I call him Fritz.
I cannot unhear that.
he's her Fritzy?
That's did the chaplain say, "Do you, Fritz, take this Deb to be your lawfully wedded wife?" Like, was it in the vows?
Was
Yes,
it?
It
Really?
was.
yes.
That's so. How did you meet?
We met through a friend that was friends. His name was Harry Turner. He's the same age as my brother. Um, his father had flatheads at Hatfield Speedway. My father did. He was friends with my brother, and he raced small blocks with my husband. And we were at a race one day, and my friend wants to take you out. And I'm like, well, if he wants to go to the big block races, I'll meet him. And I saw him, and I went out with him because of Harry. It was kind of like a blind date. That
And
was
that
it.
worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it was 44 years ago.
When
Yeah.
you remember how you felt when you heard you were going to have triplets? Like, did that?
Mm.
I can't even imagine what that must have been like because this wasn't in 2026 where they go, "Oh, this is what you do. We'll just
Eh,
organize this, and this." Right? This was how long ago?
1996, they were born. So in 95, I was fortunate enough to have the procedure done. And I knew that I had three good, healthy embryos. And I knew that the possibility of having three babies at once was high. And we were ready for it after 6 years of going to the doctors and
Yeah.
11 years of trying. I remember that day I was on the phone, and my husband was down at the garage, and the nurse got us all together and said, "Hey, mom." And that to me has still been the greatest day of my life.
Wow.
Gives me chills.
So,
So I hope
yeah.
we didn't get too personal with you there.
Yeah.
Was it IVF that you were doing, Deb, or something similar to
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Wow. And you went
Yep.
from hopeful to triplets.
Yep. And when they were going to do the first ultrasound and there were 20 people in the room, I knew something was going on.
20.
Yep, they all wanted to come in and see how many babies I had in my belly, and I'm like, bring the whole hospital in. I don't care. I was so happy. Yeah. And that's another story. I mean, that we drove up and down the turnpike I think it would be 3 years. My husband drove me up and down so I could go to doctor's appointments in the morning, and we would turn around and go back up to central Pennsylvania and never complained about it.
And
So,
it's not an easy process to go through emotionally or physically. And I've had some experience with that in the past, and the level of hope meets then suddenly you're crushed because that concept didn't work and things like that. And there's so many people that would be incredible parents if they could be. We have a great friend that would be amazing as a mum as well, and that's all I wish for her as well. So it's something that everybody takes for granted, I think, you know.
yeah, and what they did 30 years ago, they do way faster now. So I was thankful that I was part of the process and they learned from it. And I was fortunate because I did have friends that weren't fortunate, and I
Yeah.
am mindful of that. And my kids are 30, and I still, it's my proudest achievement. I mean, other than my grandkids now, but that was the greatest time of my life.
I've
Kathy
got
was involved in that. She helped me at the track. She gave me shots, and
not like these ones, not vodka,
no,
like these ones,
no,
right?
we
In the
did those
motorhome,
too. But
when we came
Kathy,
and said we're doing shots, it wasn't what
yeah,
you're thinking.
yeah, and she's the only one I trusted, and she did that for me. Yeah, so that should be key to what kind of friendship we have right there.
I have a little grandson named Atlas, who is, and
Oh,
everybody tells you they go, being a grandparent is the greatest thing in your life, and you kind of go, yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and you just go, I think you're just so much more ready to understand what love is at this point in your
Mhm.
life than you are when you become a parent for the first time. But a friend of mine did say he's a grandparent as well, granddad, and he said in the Bible it says something about God giving up his only begotten son, but he wouldn't give up his grandson. It is a different world. We talked the other night about Freddie or Fritz finally winning the National Open
Mhm.
and the response, and that must still give you chills because even Bruce Ellis got like he even got a little bit dusty when he was talking about it, you know?
that night was crazy. That was like scripted. It was from the warm-ups to the feature, everything just went our way, and the Catings were out, Cajun was out, Beaver was there from Winners. Our friends and Victory Lane was incredible. And that night was, my husband was emotional.
Mhm.
But Darren Pittman,
Mm,
because
yeah.
let's had a special relationship, and it was an incredible night. We still watch it.
Do you?
You were the fun
Oh,
part,
yeah.
watching Debbie after
One of
the
the
race.
only races we watch. Yeah.
We often forget, to your point before about fans being a little judgy and with no real context or understanding of what it can be like. I'm reminded of Sherry Hodnett and I'm reminded of Bobby Johnson as we talk right now. And I got to visit with Sherry a couple of years ago. I came out and sat with her at a salon and talked to her about Greg and I often talk to Bobby. And Bobby went through this twice, you know, with Kevin and then with Jason. I think that's the thing that makes me more sad than anything is that nobody can understand what it's like for you as racer wives and mums. It's a
Yeah,
dangerous game we play.
it is. Even it's so hard because you think of like Doug Wolfgang and
Hmm.
people like Brad Doty, people we raced with that were perfectly healthy,
Guy,
amazing
yeah,
racers.
yeah.
Guy Forbrook, yeah. I mean, it just breaks your heart that things have to happen like that. And you just, I don't know, you feel very lucky, but yet your heart still melts for them.
And you're
Yeah.
going
And you
through this as a racer's
definitely.
mum, Deb. You're going through this as a racing mum now these days, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing would make me happier if they walked away, and that's not what they want to hear. But
No.
my son Brandon has a phenomenal business, and he's got a little girl that just lights up the room with her smile. And
Yeah.
Freddie's an engineer, and he has a beautiful daughter. And Freddie was very fond of Greg because he was an engineer, and he has memorabilia from Greg that Greg gave him when he was driving the Apple car. They're
Yeah.
our close friends too, and nobody wants to think about that. And I had a very special relationship with Kevin Gobrecht, and
Yeah.
um, I tried to do as much as I could for Kevin's memorial fund. And I think about that a lot. And I think about all those people that, the people that are hurt. I mean, my husband grew up with Paul Latier, and
Yeah.
uh, Brad Doty is such a hero and a legend.
Yeah.
But when I look at Brad, and when I look at those people that are hurt, I don't look at them as handicapped. I look
Mhm.
I look at them as
Warriors.
God, success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I miss Brad commentating,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but what he gave to the sport, I mean, you can't match that
Right.
at all. I mean, and I don't know. I think I have a different perspective of it as a mom, and I don't know why it's different because my husband raced. I think I trusted my husband in every situation, and my kids, I think that the cars are so different and
Yeah.
so
True.
precise and engineered different, and I don't know why it's worse.
I know, like Chase, everywhere we go, they'll say, "Do you race like your dad?" And I was so happy that he did not race, and he was a good athlete in school. And it's not easy at all. And you have to really, really, really want it to do things right. And I didn't want that for him. And Becky never really, I mean, the kids like were around racing their whole life, but they needed their own identity. And they both are doing very well, have beautiful children too. And
Yes, if
so
they're
we've had,
successful in life, you've
right,
succeeded. 'Cause
right.
Yeah.
that's
That's
all
what
you
we
can
want.
ask for,
Right.
right?
Well, I think it's more important as parents, we're all parents and now grandparents as well, that when someone tells you your kid's a good person, that's about the greatest thing
Mhm.
you could possibly hear.
And a hard worker.
Yeah. I know when I came over here in 2021, Kendra said to me, I've organized Lynn Paxton to take you through the museum.
Yeah.
And I didn't fully understand how
Mhm.
special that was going to be for me. And Lynn at the time was quite sick. I could hear it in his cough. Like he would turn and cough, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he's not well. But he spoke with such passion about Pennsylvania racing and Tommy Hinnerschnitz. If I heard once about Tommy, I heard 20 times because that was clearly his
Mhm.
hero. So to go through that with Lynn, they're the moments whenever I come back and Kathy knows she's like, oh, Wade's gone again, Wade's gone again. If I'm not here trying to soak up every little bit of celebrating people that we don't talk about that much anymore because we're all fascinated with Kyle Larson and Brent Marks and Chase Dietz, and we should be,
We're proud of all
we
of them.
should be.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
we don't
super
look
proud
back,
of
how do we ever know
him.
where we've come from?
Right. Right.
Yeah, and Chase was in my son's wedding and
Oh,
vice
wow.
versa, and I do hats for Chase. The kid, he's such a nice kid,
Yeah,
and
he is.
love his
He is.
whole family and his mom, and I'm proud of him and Anthony, and and Brett. It's
They're all
just
fun,
incredible. Yeah,
fun to
you're
watch.
happy for them.
Yeah.
They're good kids, and
Yeah.
they're good racers, and they're not out causing rhetoric, and I love that.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand. I mean, I do understand why David Gravel gets booed. I mean, my husband owned the car when, that contact came at that National Open with Stevie. And that's another situation. Stevie Smith drove for Fritz for 3 years. And those 3 years were they're unbelievable times with Nikki and, the family. And it's a shame. I mean, I'm sure he didn't mean to spin them out. Were we mad that night? Yeah, but let it go.
Yeah.
But whatever. It is what it is. I mean, when I was a kid, they used to boo Gerald Chamberlain, Stan Pulaski, Sammy Beavers, and if I would boo them, my dad would slap me in the head. It's like you don't do that. You just
Mhm.
just keep your mouth shut. Just cheer for who you're cheering for, and I guess I kept that with my kids. But like I said, the boos were fine. It's the language and it's the bad things. I mean
Hurtful.
the threats that I have gotten that I live with, I get off of it. I struggled with it. I'm not going to lie. It's been tough, very tough. I do think there needs to be an advocate for it.
Yeah,
And I do think that these sites need to be accountable
yeah,
and remove the bad
I
stuff
agree.
that's on there, and things will be better.
Yeah, I agree with you. How often do you
So
get to racetracks, Deb? How often do you actually get time to go yourself?
that um I I was a caregiver for my mom and my dad for 5 years on the weekends. And my dad will be dead a year next week.
Very
And I
sad.
have not been to the races this year, and I have no excuse for it.
So tomorrow is looking pretty good at Port Royal. I think you should come hang out with your buddy.
Will you come to the dream race?
I
Ooh, now the pressure's on.
Will Fred come to the dream
Yeah,
race?
will Fritz come?
Fred?
I have things that I'm sending out with Fritz for Kathy, but no, I'm not going.
See,
I'm
Freddie would be the most fun interview.
Well, as you know, I got to interview them really quickly during a rain out at the Grove last year because actually never met Junior. I'd never met him. So I was like,
Really?
no, because I don't get out to PA very much. And so it's a
my
great thrill
son
for me.
Freddie.
Yeah,
If you can stop him to talk,
I know.
he's a
The
we
talk.
call him Scooch in Italian, which means like a little pest. He's constantly moving. He's my son Brandon, he would stop and talk, but Freddie, he's a worker. Um my husband being with the boys means all the difference in the world too. Overseeing everything. I'm thankful for that.
Were you not pleased, but how did you feel when Freddie eventually hung it up?
Oh, that was his decision. Yeah. Whatever he wanted to do, I always supported him. And I honestly thought, oh, now we're going to do stuff. Well, that didn't happen. He just shifted gears and picked up with the boys and was there with them, the whole time. So,
I don't know how you both have done it for so many years. I get fearful watching my friends race, let
right.
alone having family members do it. And 99.999% of the time, everybody is perfectly fine. But when we have a big wreck, we all go, "Oh, wow, I didn't see that coming." But do you understand what we do every single lap? We're doing things that the normal human being goes, no thanks. That's crazy.
Right.
We're immune to it, right?
There was a night at Knoxville, and I was reminded of it when um, the other night or the other week with the accident out at Knoxville, that I was on the backstretch with the kids. I don't remember how old they were. And my husband had wrecked between 1 and 2, and I had the binoculars out and I saw him laying over in the car.
Mm.
And I was back to the motorhome with all 3 kids, put them all in the car, and beat the ambulance to the hospital. That's the kind of aggression that we did, that Kathy and I had when our husbands were racing it. I used to push the kids in the stroller and pull a wagon, and I don't even remember how I ran back to the motorhome that night, but I did, and I got them in the car, and like I said, I beat the ambulance. But they're the types of situations that I remember. I
And
so
your control. I mean,
and I guess my point is, I don't want that for anybody else. I don't want that for any other driver, any other
Yeah.
wife. Nobody needs to see that, have that fear. I mean, you absorb it, but
Yeah.
nobody wants to hear anything bad about it on social media.
Well, when Anthony had the crash at Knoxville,
that was
and as
heartbreaking.
an announcer, you want to be able to say something because you know that his family are back in PA, and all they've
Correct.
got is and the camera is not allowed to film the incident because that's a respect
And
thing.
the
So
fact that he just came back
yeah,
from
that's
being
right.
hurt.
All of
Yeah.
that story was heartbreaking, but you can't, as an announcer, you can't break the code, which is to say something, because then we can say, "Oh, he's talking with the officials or something," and then he lapses out of consciousness or something like that. So there's a balance, and I always think of you guys in those situations, you know.
Yeah, and that is the wreck I was talking about. I just
Mhm.
I just didn't say Anthony. Yeah, I mean, his father was, not there, and you instantly think, dear God, please, and you're right. You have to be careful of what you say. But I think that people need to be mindful of that when they're writing terrible things. It's horrible.
I think it's not racing, it's the planet. I think and I'm not a conspiracy theorist in the slightest. Something happened during COVID where we all just became less grateful when we got our freedom back. Because I know Pennsylvania was not so much. You guys went racing anyway. You were like to the world, we're going racing, you're going to stop me
No
racing.
excuses.
Whereas Australia, we locked
Yeah.
down. It was horrible. We couldn't go out on Anzac Day, which is our way of celebrating our military. And we used to go to dawn services. We all had to stand in the driveway by ourselves with a candle. But when we got our freedom back, everybody got back to being angry and resentful and entitled and pissed off at the littlest things. Dominic Selzy called it tender. He said to me, if we all weren't so tender, which meant like if we weren't just so easily offended anymore, because I think that's the difference now. People are so personally attacked or offended. And for me, the simple beauty is sitting here with Kathy. Keith's out doing something for Port Royal. You're in there. Your boys are racing. Fritz is going. I can't unhear that. He's going to be old Fritz. He's going to be. I cannot. Yeah, but you're.
They're probably watching me on Facebook.
I hope so.
Wondering what the hell I'm doing.
I hope so. But the simple beauty of what we're doing here, we'll never get this moment back. So we need to spend every moment we have feeling grateful. That's just the way I've come out of COVID, feeling like, oh my God. I mean, the view out the window here.
That's incredible. I know. Yeah.
Right? So, and they've got the world's most shallow swimming pool out the back there. Don't jump in that end of the pool, Deb.
This is my town.
Yeah, Montgomery Gentry,
where I was born and I was raised.
I didn't know she could sing as well.
Oh yeah, she can sing.
But like she's great friends with the Jacobs family, as you well know. So every time she has a meal, she takes a picture and sends it to Kim. They send food porn to each other. It's next level. But we're so grateful for it,
Kim
right,
and
Devin?
Kathy are fabulous, and Kendra and the kids. I met them through Kathy and Keith, and we consider them our friends too. Yeah, just fantastic.
So you are coming tomorrow. That's what we established, right?
Are you coming?
Not tomorrow. I'm trying to do something for the Tuscarora come up for the day.
But I'm not going to be at Tusky. Come on, Rio Rahmer, Mrs. Fritz.
I know, right? I know. I'm a dud.
Italian you've ever met at the track?
Pretty well.
100%, baby.
She might be. She might be the only. I'll probably in Australia. We certainly have Italians that race, like Pino Brillo.
Oh yes,
and all those sort of people. But
a lot of Italians in Melbourne.
I had the best time with Fred and Todd when they came and raced at Parramatta. David Lander was a tremendous promoter, and I think him and Fred became really good friends. And I know Ken Jenkins will watch this, and you make friends for life in our sport, Deb.
You do.
Well, Fritz calls me an old boiler because of David Lander. That's his term. And that he said one time that somebody needed a charisma bypass. And my husband uses that term all the time too now.
When Carol goes to get her nails or her hair done, he says she's going for a full detail. So yeah, you can blame us for all that. It's I'm really glad we just did this because it was pretty random. So it's like, do you want to call her and let's just do it Facebook Live. Let's just BS a little and I need to put more. I told her, Deb, she's got to release a cookbook. Like she's got to see her shake her head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
just do it.
What are you feeling hungry for? She says every other minute. What are you feeling hungry for? I'm like, we just ate. We just ate, Kath.
We're foodies. He eats everything. He'll eat anything.
Even his sister-in-law brings food to him. He's like a king around these parts here, Deb. Sire, would you like some cookies? I baked you this.
I know, he should be mayor.
Luckiest man in the world, I reckon. It's so lovely to catch up with you, Deb. I appreciate you always commenting on my Facebook posts and things, and it's always a great thrill for me to see Deb Rio Rahmer. Yeah, then there's a comment like, yes, Deb commented. She's not out getting a full detail.
I'll make sure I comment more.
It's wonderful I appreciate you both so much and what you've been through, and you're such important parts of your husband's career. Without you both, I know that Fritz and Keith, you need to come up with a nickname for Keith now that's not Fritz.
The man from Mifflintown.
Well, I think you need a sexy one like Fritz. Hey, Fritz, come to bed. That's got a much more sexy tone than, hey, man from Mifflintown.
Okay.
On that, Kath, would you?
Yeah. It's good to see you, Deb.
Thank you so much, and I'll be talking to you.
Your husband's right now going, oh my God, did you see what our wives were talking about? Have a wonderful day, everybody. Be kind and be grateful for everything that you get today, everybody. That's the message that we're doing today. So
See you, mate.
Oh, wow. Look at her.
Good on you.
See you, Mrs. Fritz.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
The old boiler. See you, love.
What's for supper?
Yeah. What are you feeling hungry for?